What is going on, guys? Let me verify that we're still recording. I'm using my other phone today. Okay, we're still recording. Which is a Pixel. I use basically only Pixel phones. And I normally use my Pixel Fold, which is super nice for like content creators that need to make sure like the phone's recording and everything like that. But I don't have that on me today. I left it at home. But today's video, I wanted to talk to you guys about Robotaxi. It's been like a week or so since I updated you guys with Robotaxi. I've been kind of updating a little bit more of the property stuff that we have going on, as you know, we've been getting some properties up and launching them and all that good stuff. So follow along if you're interested in other entrepreneurial things outside of Tesla and whatnot. Again, I'm Malachi Grubb, CEO of Elite Automation, Elite Properties, and an investor in Tesla. We also do some other entrepreneurial things, and we're also always just like testing and trying new things out. Just to explore as an entrepreneur and whatnot. But today I really wanted to discuss Robotaxi and some of the things that are going on with Robotaxi, and yeah, basically inform you guys on the new updates. So I'll say we don't have anything extremely new. However, we have done another expansion in Austin, Texas, which like 2x the size again. And if I'm not mistaken, with the size increases that we've had so far, I have documented that like 2 expansions ago, basically Elon said that it was going to 10x. So we're probably getting near to what that 10x is going to be. Sorry, and he said 10x by like the end of the year. And so that gives us kind of a good milestone of like where we're at and what we can anticipate the expansion to be by end of year. So according to that, we probably have like another 2x from where it currently sits at. I think we're sitting at like 193 square miles or something like that, which is massive. I mean, I live in Evansville, Indiana, and it's like, I guess maybe 100 square miles. So that like is double the size of the city here with like 300,000 people or whatever population. So super massive area. I mean, for us, 193 square miles would be our entire outskirts of our city, basically, and even bleeding into other cities, which it's kind of the same goes for Austin, Texas as well, because if you've ever been in like these big cities, you always have like your big major part of the city, and then you have all these sub cities like the outside. You can't even tell that you're in a different city. It just feels like you're in the same city. So we're gonna probably see at least a 2x from where it's currently sitting at, which really kind of takes me into one of the next things that I've predicted some months back, and that is that Tesla is going to try to service all of Texas as one of its first primary targets. I also think they're going to do this with Florida as well. However, I'm getting less confident that they're going to do this in Florida by like December. I figured that they would already have some major like metro city going on, like Miami and Orlando, and just some of the big cities in Florida. However, we're not seeing any expansion into those areas as far as operating actual Robotaxi. Now, like on the flip side of that, there has been confirmation of validation vehicles running around Florida. I mean, they're running around all over the United States. We've seen them in Chicago, all different types of places. So actually, I'm going to be in Chicago this coming up week for an automation event called FabTech for Elite Automation Company, which has basically a lot of fabricated automation systems, which is like one of the things that we do as a company. We build automated fabrication machinery with robotics and whatnot. But there'll be a lot of other things there too. But point being is, I'll be in Chicago, and it's likely I might spot one of these validation vehicles running around down there, because I would assume they're really targeted towards the downtown area, and that'll be one of the areas that I'm in. So if I capture any of those vehicles running around, I'll be sure to share those. And if I happen to be like conveniently like behind one or something, maybe I'll follow it for some period of time. I've not seen anybody follow it. We've seen clips of people, posting up the validation vehicles of them like driving by and stuff, but we haven't seen anybody like really following the validation vehicles and kind of like seeing like how they're mapping or like how they're navigating and whatnot. Which completely subtopic. I think that eventually, after like Robotaxi launches and after we get to unsupervised, I think there will always be validation vehicles running around, but the validation vehicles will be running around autonomously. So you'll have a few of the Teslas that are just driving the roads and validating the roads on a daily basis, just to like confirm that nothing's changed with that road and that its data is still good, and maybe data hasn't been corrupted or anything like that. That's just kind of one of the things I foresee. Now going back into like the Texas thing and expanding into the entirety of Texas, one of the primary reasons why I think that they're going to do that is because Texas is a state that is friendly to autonomous vehicles, and they basically have a you're at fault policy, meaning regulatory wise they don't stop them. However, it's more like if you screw up, you will be in trouble, you'll be fined, you'll be whatever the repercussion is. However, they don't immediately put like huge pressures on companies to like suppress them and say you have to pass all these things to make happen. Another big thing that Texas has is Texas has a few major cities, and even though Texas is a huge state, some of the major cities that it has like covers a huge amount of our population. I mean, so you have Austin, Texas, Houston, Texas, Dallas, Fort Worth, which, if I'm not mistaken, is it Dallas? I believe it's, somebody can correct me. I believe Dallas and Houston are basically connected. It's one of the cities. Two of the major cities are basically connected. They're like right side by side with each other. And so something like that, where you have a demographic where you have these two major cities that sit right next to each other, makes it so that you can encompass that entire thing. So like if you're going from like Dallas to Houston or whatever, no, it's not Dallas and Houston. What is it? I don't know. But basically the cities are so close together that you can now service both of them and like validate and have like concentrated employees in that area, and it just makes it easier basically to scale that operation and also be able to service people in those areas, because you can service all in between. You can service just the one, like just the one city or just the other city, but you're able to do that operationally, basically kind of under like one umbrella. Now then that kind of expands into the other reason for Texas is just for the fact that there are many cities that are not extremely far away from each other. When I say not extremely far away from each other, they're like 3 to 4 hours away from each other, 5 hours max. And that's a good amount of space in between. However, if they can confirm the highways and connect cities like Dallas and Houston and stuff like that, now they've opened up Robotaxi to compete with flights. And some might say, well, who's gonna take a 5-hour drive when they can take a 2-hour flight? Well, the thing is like, even if your flight's an hour and a half, by the time you drive to the airport, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, depends on how far away you live from the airport. You check your bags, you go through security, even if you only have checked bags. This is a quick 1-day trip or something like that. You check through security and all that, especially at your biggest like Dallas, Fort Worth. You walk to your terminal and stuff. I mean, a 1.5 hour flight is actually 3 hours. Okay. And that whole, like a majority of that time, you're like diddling around with like your bags and trying to find a seat somewhere you can sit down if you want to try to like work or something. And it's like, it's a process that has a lot of losses, right? And this I'll take you back to an example of myself and why I think that they're definitely going to compete in this area, and I'll also tie this back into why why people will use the Robotaxi in this way. So for myself, I travel a lot for business, and I primarily drive. Like I generally only fly if it's like 8+ hours, and even sometimes then 8+ hour drive, and even sometimes then I still drive. depending. It depends. Like if I'm going to go there and then I have multiple things I need to do while I'm there, or if I'm going to go there and be there for a week. So, some of those things will matter. But even if I drive somewhere for the day and then come right back, a lot of times I'll drive. And a big part of that is because I can just jump in the car and go. Now, we're starting to get things like, before I diverge, I just want to jump in the car and go, right? For somebody like myself, I'm a productive person, so I'm trying to be as productive as I possibly can. And with that being said, when I'm in the vehicle, I can have meetings with my employees. I can, study up on some of my different investment stuff like Tesla, Nvidia, AMD, AI, just all these kind of subtopics, what's going on in politics. That matters a lot with the automation company, and with us having like divisions in India, that tariffs are not going to have a huge impact on our business because we import we import/export equipment from our India facility to our U.S. facility, and that could have huge costs because it's capital equipment, hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars of equipment, and so that could be disruptive. So I pay attention to like what's going on in politics, aka in the car while I have internet, I can stay tuned with those type of things. It's just so many countless things. I have Tesla with FSD, which was one of the biggest and best investments that I done. I wish I would have done this freaking years ago. But if you know anything about me, I'm always trying to delay gratification. I'm always trying to delay buying things that I want now and offsetting them. I wanted a Tesla for the past 10 years. However, FSD wouldn't have been as good and wouldn't have been as valuable, but I've wanted a Tesla for the past 10 years. I didn't buy my first Tesla until this past year ago, and then I bought two of them, a Cybertruck and a Model Y, and then I might buy a third one. But that's the power of delayed gratification. I can do all these things in 1 year. Bought one property last year. I bought other properties. I bought one property 7 years ago. I bought another, or 10 years ago. I bought another property 7 years ago. I bought another property last year, and I'm buying 4 properties this year. This is delayed gratification. Topic for another video, but I just wanted to throw that one in there real quick just to kind of showcase like how powerful that is. But to circle back, the value of being able to jump in the car, be able to talk, and I'm staying on the business topic a lot, but like being able to talk to your employees, be able to talk with your coworkers, right? Because a lot of people are not business owners. Talk to your coworkers, talk to your bosses, talk to your whoever it may be, right? Maybe you're in real estate. You can coordinate with all your different clients, all your prospects, and while you're in FSD or in this case it's Robotaxi, so it's even more acceptable to do these things. You're able to just sit in the back seat. So I'm gonna kind of walk you through the process of what that looks like and stop rambling. So first thing, vehicle pulls up to your house. Okay, and allows some allotted wait time, and you can even set that wait time if you want to. I want the vehicle to wait for me for maybe has a predetermined 15 minutes. Okay, past that, it's how much ever dollars a minute for just to sit idle and not do nothing, but you have that as an option. Vehicle pulls up. It says, "Hey, I'm here." You out with your luggage. Load it into the car. You get in the car takes off. And maybe it does have to supercharge along the way. It pulls itself up to a supercharger. It parks itself. Maybe you still have to get out and plug it in. So that's like a 2-minute thing, if that. But the entire time, the vehicle pulled up to your house. You loaded your luggage in. You got in the car. You immediately started diddling whatever on your phone, working, scrolling Facebook, X, LinkedIn, whatever it is that you like to do, watching a movie. You get a Bing notification, "Hey, we're at the supercharger, get out, plug it in." Boop, boop. 2 minutes. Maybe you have to sit for 5, 10, 15 minutes, but hey, you jump right back in the car and you're back to diddling whatever you're doing, right? Being productive. entertaining yourself, whatever that may be. Car charges for 15 minutes. Boom. Now you're off. Now you're off on the road again. Now you're basically at the conclusion. You're at your final destination. You get your luggages out. You put them in your hotel room or whatever you got. And for a trip like this, you can schedule multiple stops. Okay, I need to put my luggages in the hotel room. Then I need to go eat. Then I need to go to the event center. Okay? You get back in that same car. It takes you over to the event center. Maybe you left your backpack in the car. You got like reserved the car for the day. You left your backpack in the car. You go back out there. So that way you don't have to carry your backpack in. You go back out to the car. You get in it. It takes you to MacD, Starbucks, wherever it is you want to go. You grab your food. Maybe you grab it to go. Maybe you don't. Maybe you pay for it to wait and sit and wait for you while you eat inside. You jump back in the car and you go. Takes you to your final destination. You grab all your things and the vehicle just leaves. Vanishes and you're done. That's the process of the Robotaxi. Now, I'm going to kind of briefly go through that same process, but with a flight. Okay? You have to take a cab. You have to load your luggage into the car. You have to get to the airport. You have to unload your items from the car, take it into the airport, grab your plane ticket, take your stuff to the front counter, check stuff if you need to check stuff. If not, you have to check through security. You get checked through security. The security guy wants to diddle you because he's not having a good day. And then that takes an extra 10 minutes. Maybe that doesn't happen. Maybe you slide right through and it's easy. Okay? Now you go sit and you wait at your terminal. 15 minutes, 30 minutes. It's probably going to be at least 30 minutes. Everybody needs to get to the airport earlier. You might miss your flight because you never know if the security guy's going to diddle you or not. Okay? So now you're sitting at your terminal just waiting for your plane to get there for 30 minutes. Then you take your hour-and-a-half flight. You land there. You have to go through security again. Well, potentially, depending on, I guess that's only international. Okay, now you're at the airport. You're sitting out there. What do? You call an Uber. You got to load your luggages, or you have to pick back up your luggages if you checked any luggages. Okay? I mean, this process right here alone is enough for me. Just the luggage dealio. I hate dealing with luggage at the airport. And I fly internationally and all different types of places. Now you have to take your luggage from the airport back into another vehicle. What are you going to do? Get an Uber. Okay, you get an Uber. You take it to your hotel. Now you have to take your backpack inside. Now you have to get another Uber because that Uber's not going to sit there and wait on you. And if it is going to sit there and wait on you, it's going to be quite expensive because there's a human driver and that human driver has to sit idle. Okay? Now you have to load your stuff back in the car, your next new car with your different driver and everything. If you want to stop and get something to eat, you're going to have to tell them to swing in, have 2 destinations. I don't know. I've never taken an Uber to like a fast food place or something and like had them drop me off or had them wait for me or anything like that. So I don't even know how that process works. Maybe you do. You can drop that down in the comment below. But a Robotaxi can wait or not wait or do all these different things because it doesn't have the expense of an operator, aka a human driver. So like if it's just sitting idle, that cost can be much lower. And then after you eat, maybe you got dropped off, maybe they did wait for you and then they charged you out the wazoo to sit and wait for you to eat your MacD. Okay? Then you get back in there and you have to go to the event plaza. They drop you off. So you can kind of see like how those two processes are quite different. And how one's either much more expensive and or not optional and not convenient. And this kind of brings me to one of the next things with that. And as somebody who travels internationally, I travel to India, I travel to Mexico, and other countries as well. But one thing that they have in other countries, and I'll say especially like India, is we will rent cars for an entire day, an entire week. And literally there'll be a guy that sits outside of wherever we're at and waits for us. We basically I have a private driver, okay? I have a private driver, and they just sit outside all day, 8-hour day while I'm inside. Just sit idle, doing nothing. Okay? The Robotaxi you'll be able to rent out for the day. Why would you want to rent out the Robotaxi for the entire day? One, because the cost will be low enough, right? You'll be able to say, hey, I'm paying $75 for the entire day for this vehicle. It can take me anywhere and everywhere, and maybe it has like a maximum mileage, similar to like how you would rent a vehicle on a daily basis. Okay. Now you have this convenience of like, this is basically your car. You can leave all your belongings in it, which is, I think, is the primary reason for people owning a vehicle these days. You know, not these days, because like Robotaxi is not fully there and you know, to scale yet. But one of the number one reasons will be this factor. Somebody wants a car there for them all the time. As soon as I walk out, even if I don't need it for 8 hours, as soon as I walk out, I want my car to be there. And I can leave my belongings in the car. I can leave my backpack in the car. I can leave my luggages. I can leave whatever, right? Giving you that same scenario, how I said, let's go to the hotel and then let's go to the event plaza. Maybe I want to do the other way around. Maybe I need to go to the event plaza because I'm running late. I want to leave all my luggage in the car. I'll do my event thing all day, 8-hour day. Then I'll go to the car, grab my luggages. Then I'll go to the car, take my ride to the hotel, take my luggages out. But my luggages were able to stay in the car all day. And I didn't have to worry about them, right? The vehicle just went and parked itself somewhere else or whatever, right? And so that convenience of being able to store your own things in the vehicle is one of the big things that people like about having a vehicle. I have so many things. I have like chargers here. I have battery packs. You know, I have a hotspot. You know, people like storing stuff in their car. I have junk everywhere. But, you know, I keep like my electric scooter in the back of the Cybertruck. But people are going to want this. And people might even rent Robotaxis like full time, where instead of like leasing a car, you almost lease it by however long you want it. You know what I mean? And it's like more of a lease option, but on like a daily basis versus like a monthly or annual contract or whatever. So you're just like leasing it on a more of a daily basis. And I think the affordability will be there. And I think in the future, you'll have settings to change that. I went deep into that side tangent, but that really ties in why Texas is going to be, or Texas and other cities that interconnect, why that will be so major. And Texas has a lot of major cities that are like, again, 3 to 5 hours away from each other. And by connecting those cities, you're going to eliminate people wanting to fly, and not necessarily eliminate people wanting to fly. People are going to choose Robotaxi over flying. So they're going to capture that whole demographic of people that are looking to, or that addressable market that are people who are traveling inner city. And then that, you know, also bleeds into the, after I get to that city, I need to bounce around. And, you know, you could just choose to keep that same vehicle or however you choose to do. And also on the flip side, if these Robotaxis are operated by Tesla, then it doesn't matter really what service center it's from. It could go from Houston to Austin, and it could just stay in Austin for like the next week until somebody from Austin wants to go to Houston. Or you have like dedicated, I don't know what the seat count would be, but let's say, for instance, you have 100, 200 vehicles that are dedicated to Austin and Houston, right? Boom. All these 100, 200 vehicles, all they do is go back and forth all day, every day. And they're basically in between vehicles, you know? And when I say all day, every day, that vehicle might go from Houston, go over to Austin. There'll be combinations of this. Some will just shoot back and forth every day. I picked up a rider, I go here. I picked up a rider, I go there, right? Houston, Austin, back and forth. And also those same cars, or maybe it'll be its own individual fleet of cars that is pick up in Houston, go hang out in Austin for a week, then go back to Houston, right? And vice versa. Austin, go to Houston, hang out for a week, come back to Austin, right? And so you'll have those different types of fleet systems in the way that they handle managing the vehicles. But if they're operated by Tesla, then it doesn't matter. The Tesla service center in Austin or the Tesla service center in Houston can both handle the vehicle. right? And this is a huge reason why covering an entire state is going to be such a big deal. This is why I think Texas is going to be one of the first. And one other thing that has prevailed recently is that there are safety drivers sitting in the driver's seat in some of the Austin Robotaxis for testing highways. So my projection is that they're being as safe as possible and wanting to test highways so that they have that interconnectivity. And on top of that, like when somebody lives 45 minutes outside of town, they're able to jet down the highway and get into town versus like taking small side roads the entire length of wherever they need to go. Because as you know, like some of that stuff might be the difference between a 20-minute drive and a 40-minute drive, taking a highway or not taking a highway. Which takes me to actually one of the next things, which is kind of a separate topic. I think they're also, besides just collecting data and validating data and stuff like that, validating meaning they're just getting more data to have more analytical data on like interventions and stuff like that. And they're doing that through the drivers and the safety riders versus like just human operators in FSD, because we engage sometimes when we don't need to engage, when it's not actually safety critical. So that data is more maybe precise. They're trained on when to engage. But they're also holding off for version 14. And I'll kind of leave off this video with that, and I'll make a V14 video explaining why I think that they're waiting for V14. And actually a lot of what they're doing right now is just scaling operations and basically holding off until V14 comes. But I'm going to conclude there. I ranted on a lot in this video. If you like this type of content, make sure you subscribe and leave any comments, questions, anything down below. I always try to answer all the comments that I can, or pretty much all of them. I don't know that I let a single comment go by. So, yeah, please do. Please comment. Let's engage. Let's discuss. And heading over from Evansville, Indiana to Louisville, Kentucky for the weekend, and then up to Chicago Sunday. So if you're in the Chicago area, I'm down to meet up. I go to Chicago a whole heck of a lot. A few times a year at least, though. But yeah, thanks for viewing. Subscribe if you're interested in other Tesla content, business and entrepreneurial content. And we'll catch you next one. Peace.